Hello and welcome to coverage of the Magic Online Championship. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Eric Froelich, and we are just about underway here in our last draft round, where we find two of our top three players record-wise going at it here. Jasper de Jong sitting at 8-1. He is clear of the field by 2 full victories. Ole Rade is part of that next group at 6-3. There's 2 other 6-3s.
There are,
yeah.
I
so
that'll be Magnus and Alesia.
So that means that Ole Rade really would love to pick up a win here and separate himself from that group while bringing Jasper one step closer to him on the top. A lot to be gained here from Ole. From Jasper's side of the board, though, if he can manage to pick up a win and get a 2-1 out of a white-blue deck that didn't really come together the way he wanted to, he would be thrilled with that. Yeah,
we actually saw these two players play in the last round yesterday. Jasper, of course, came out on top, going 7-0 with his Malira and Company deck versus Ole Rade's Elves and Company deck. And we've seen Ole in the feature match a couple times, and things have not gone very well for him, but every time he's out on the floor, he's just crushing.
Yeah, it's true. You know, he was having a philosophical debate with himself earlier about 3-0 this draft, never win a draft again.
Yeah.
And he might have cashed in that, because he is 1 win away from picking up the 3-0 and improving his record from 4-3 to 7-3 and launching him near the top, especially, again, if he finds himself at 7-3 and reels Jasper down to 8-2, he's really within striking distance and put himself in a good spot to make a run at the top 4 at the standard, which is our next portion here. All right, so we've developed our boards a little bit with Scaleguard Sentinels here from Ole Rade, though it did come down on turn 3. That happens pretty often with these spells that cost 2 mana symbols like that. On the other side, Dragon Hunter and Jeskai Sage not really able to get an offense going, and the right into being that he's going to get here probably won't either, so Scaleguard Sentinel's doing good work protecting Ole Rade here in the early stages. It looks like he's going to be able to line up a Formless Nurturing next turn, and he can follow that up with an Epic Confrontation and Huge Stone Retainers on the 5th turn. He's got the mana and the spells to make that happen, so a nice little curve here for Ole if everything goes according to plan.
Absolutely, although none of these cards are especially overpowered, but
no.
It's nice to get them out on time.
Yeah.
Oh, Reach in Shadows is always a nice draw.
Yeah, that's really good, and it's going to be good against Jasper as well, because you can see that the cards he has on the ground aren't that impressive. The ones he has in the air do get a bit better. He's got sort of a bunch of, you see an Abzan Sky Captain up there. He's got an Aven Tactician, these kind of overpriced flyers, two power flyers, but they can do some work against Ole if he doesn't have any way to interact with those flyers, so the Reach of Shadows might be one of the keys there.
Yeah, I mean, none of these cards are very threatening to Ole and his life total right now. So, just having this Reach in reserve that can take care of essentially anything that's going to be a serious threat down the road. Not that Jasper has too many in his deck.
He does not. He does not. He won his last round by playing Echoes of the Kin Tree.
I mean, he's got a few good flyers. Ojutai Interceptors is not the most powerful card in the world, but the damage adds up quickly.
Yes. All right, here's Ojutai Monument. So it looks like Jasper realizes that, playing out some of his soul summons here isn't really going to advance his board in a meaningful way. So he'd rather just be more mana efficient, develop his colors, and also he's going to play a Sidisi's Faithful here.
Interesting decision to bounce a Manifest. Not something you see happen that often, period.
Yeah, there's a downside to it.
Yeah, I thought for a second he might be bouncing his own Manifest. Don't think we've gotten word on what that is quite yet.
Yeah, the risk, of course, being that the Manifest that's face down could easily be a spell, and that would have effectively drawn Ole Rade a card in that position. In this case, it was actually a Dragonsguard Bear.
So even bouncing a land, I mean, you're getting rid of a 3/3, but maybe the land matters. Maybe it's a splash color. I don't know how much he knows about Ole's deck.
So Ole's going to play his Dragonsguard Bear. He doesn't see anything worth Epic confronting here, so he's just going to let that sit in his hand, and he'll save the Huge Stone Retainers for another turn.
The Manifest turns out to be an island, so Sidisi's Faithful is not going to bounce that one. Although he is a little constrained on mana, it's not really worth it.
All right, so here's the first threat that can actually start getting in for damage for Jasper. He's found his... Here, he's going to cast his Abzan Sky Captain. And that one is a pain.
Yeah. The fact that that bolster is not, you can't put it on any creature you want. It does go on the creature with the lowest toughness, means that should Ole actually cast Epic Confrontation, it's forced to go on the Dragon Hunter. That thing will just trade with the bear. It's not going to be easy to necessarily force through. Turns out Jasper has pacifism, so that could be an exchange that happens. But the Houston Retainer will come out as well, so there'll be multiple creatures that can trade with even a 4/3 Dragon Hunter, and kind of keep this game remaining at parity.
That's right. And worst case for Ole, he has to end up using his Reach of Shadows on the now bigger Dragon Hunter. Interesting to see the Ojutai Monument up there as well, Ifro. I wonder if this is going to be one of those games where the players trade enough resources where that thing could actually become a threat for Jasper.
I mean, it looks like that's going to be the direction that the game takes, that Jasper's going to try to turn it into a threat, but he doesn't have anything now that even Ole needs to consider using Reach of Shadows on, so we're pretty far away from that being super relevant, I guess.
All right, here's Epic Confrontation.
Instead choosing to kill the Faithful. Looks like he's looking to get aggressive.
He does have an attack here with the bear for 4.
Yeah, interesting decision to not play the Retainer first to be able to leave up Regeneration.
All right, there he goes.
Jasper considering his double block options. Not an easy decision to make against a player with 4 mana and 3 cards in hand, though. Sight Beyond Sight is a pretty powerful card, and obviously more so on the more even a game is, it can pull you pretty far ahead. So this game is pretty even right now, and Sight Beyond Sight is a pretty excellent card.
Yeah, in any game that's at parity, it's going to come close to drawing him 2 spells here on average, and he finds, in fact, an Enhanced Awareness here to keep that card draw flowing, and I think he's going to pacify... Yes, he's going to pacify the Hewstone Retainers and get in there for 2 with the Sky Captain as well.
Right, Sight Beyond Sight, 4 mana sorcery with Rebound that you look at the top 2 cards of your library, you get to keep 1, but then you get to do that the next turn as well, so... pretty powerful card drawing spell where you get a lot of good selection. You're more often than not going to get 2 of your top 4 cards. You're probably going to hit some action. Enhanced Awareness is, can draw you into more action. But of course, you're going to need to have that action in your deck to actually draw into.
That's true. That is one of the major issues that Jasper found, is that his draft did not go the way that he wanted it to. And here comes Sight Beyond Sight off of Rebound. Let's see what he finds with that. Then he gets his draw step as well. And he's got the Enhanced Awareness to keep the cards flowing if he doesn't find something worthwhile here. So these next few turns are going to be really important for Jasper, as he's, depending on what he finds here, could be big.
Well, he's starting to fall a little bit behind. Not too bad. That's a good removal spell. Enduring Victory, being able to kill an attacker or blocker. The Bolster, not super exciting when you've got a 2/1 creature in play that, just not super powerful.
Right.
Don't know that I would have Soul Summons there. I guess it probably works out just fine.
What's the downside?
Just having another card to potentially discard to Enhanced Awareness, where it forces you to play a not very powerful card in Soul Summons and to play out an additional land. I think he's fine playing out the land. He kind of wants to draw lands, though. I don't think he minds it with cards like, was it Echoes of the Kintree? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I know you don't know the name of it.
I got it right.
Hasn't made your main deck that often, I'm assuming.
Close to 0 times.
Yeah.
And by close to, I mean exactly.
Yes. I sideboarded it in once.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Brought that bad boy in out of the board. All right, Dragonsguard Bear gets in there for 3. And on end step, Enhanced Awareness is going to hit, and he finds some of his bombs here. Aven Tactician and Whisk Away.
Yeah.
He's got that.
Make that Dragon Hunter real beefy.
Yeah. Yeah, Dragon Hunter, kind of a liability at this point. I mean, if he could get rid of it, he could start putting the counters on, on his Abzan Sky Captain and make a nice big flying threat.
I mean, it's fine. Like, it'll trade with the hand or the Safeguard. Is that
the elite, the Scale Guard?
Scale Guards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, there is Aven Tactician now for Jasper. And the Hunter's going to pick up the token and become a 3/2. And Jasper's going to survey the scene and kind of try to map out what he wants to do on this turn. Defeat in hand for Rade. He didn't find any target that he really wanted, but that Tactician probably will fit the bill.
Yeah, when you're able to take down your opponent's 5-drop, not a bad spot to be.
Not bad at all. All right, meanwhile, Abzan Sky Captain in for 2. Rade takes it, draws his card for the turn, which is a Forest.
I mean, Jasper got a couple extra cards from Sight Beyond Sight. He got a couple extra cards from Enhanced Awareness, and yeah, he's definitely starting to pull ahead in this game.
In the meantime, Dragonsguard Bear is going to regenerate.
It's going to get sent away.
And it's going to get whisked to the top of the library. And that's a big play there for Jasper, as it's going to really set Rade back on both damage and, of course, the card as well. I mean, now Rade just has no forward momentum going at all as far as getting Jasper dead. He's going to be drawing the bear, recasting the bear. That's not going to be able to attack until the next turn, and even then, you can see that...
well, the Monument can start coming in too, so
yeah,
representing a 2-turn clock.
That's right. 6/6, you're dead. Now, the Reach of Shadows cannot be cast here. Remember, Jasper definitely waited until the regeneration was paid for there for the bear. And that means that since Ole decided to kill the Aven Tactician, he doesn't have enough mana here to cast Reach. So it does look like Jasper's going to get in there for a nice big hit of 6 damage in the air.
Yeah, we already know what Ole's drawing next turn. It's not a great one.
Right.
He's going to be able to play the land and play the bear and still leave up Reach of Shadows, but there's a lot of attackers on the other side of the board.
Depending on how close Jasper's paying attention, it could be kind of interesting because he knows, if Ole plays the Forest that he had it in his hand last turn, and there's a reason he's playing it now. Though I don't know that it really changes Jasper's line.
Right. I mean, if it was a 3-mana spell, he could have cast it last turn. The threat being that he wants to leave up Regeneration and a 3-mana spell, but it doesn't really make sense for it to be a 3-mana spell.
Right. Jasper draws a Youthful Scholar, which could be something nice for down the line here, though. Right now, he's going to end up with a 3-turn clock if he does go for the Monument here. And he has the Enduring Victory in his hand, too, just in case, Ole comes up with some type of Reach creature or something, a flyer or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you're putting your opponent on Reach, which is a reasonable thing to do, attacking with everything is not a bad position to be in. What that will do, A of all, the Monument has to be dealt with or it's lethal, so it doesn't matter. If he doesn't have anything, he's dead. No big deal. If he does have something like Reach of Shadows, we know it wasn't a 3-mana spell because he would have cast it last turn to deal with the Monument.
That's right.
So it has to be more than 3 mana, or he has nothing, in which case he's just dead. So he won't be able to leave up Regeneration mana. So if you attack with everything, you're trading your 3 ground creatures, and you get to get rid of the Dragonsguard Bear and the Hand of Silumgar. The Sky Captain is going to get through for 2 at the very least. you're going to have one of your manifests get eaten by Scaleguard Sentinels, and now you're going to be left with Abscan Sky Captain against the 2/3. You're going to be at 10. No real threats to your life total of potentially dying. Your opponent's going to be hellbent, and you're going to have 2 spells left in hand. So definitely something I think that was worth considering.
All right, well, Jasper took the safer line here, just attacked for 2, played out the Youthful Scholar, and shipped the turn back. And are we going to see that monument jump to life now? Yes, we are. But now Rade does have the mana to both kill it and regenerate the bear here, so those ground attacks are going to have to stay back. Monument down. Rade did find himself a Jungle Hollow, which is actually going to buy him a full turn to try to find an answer for the Sky Captain if he can find it, and he did, kind of. So the Acid Spear Dragon, you know, we were talking about that a second ago. This is where the Enduring Victory comes in as an insurance plan against a reach creature or flyer. In this case, it happens to be a flyer.
Actually, what is going to happen here is Ole has no cards in hand. He's going to attack with all 5 creatures, and what he can do is Enduring Victory his own creature or an opposing creature. Either way, he's going to be able to bolster one. If he didn't have the bolster ability, let's say it was a Sandblast, he could have Sandblasted his own Absent Sky Captain and then bolstered onto one of his other creatures that went unblocked for lethal.
Yeah, even just the Enduring Victory counter will do it here, huh?
Mm-hmm. Unless the Absent Sky Captain was the creature that went unblocked, in which case the Enduring Victory would have still done it.
That's right. So Jasper, I'm sure he sees this line, but he needs to make sure that he works it through. You know, this is not the moment where you want to... He's at 16 minutes on his clock. He can certainly take a little bit of extra time just to make sure that this line is clean and there's nothing that he's overlooking, because this could be disastrous if he was just wrong. He could just be dead on the backswing or something crazy like that. So it looks like he's found it, though. In comes the team. Only 4 blockers available here for Rade. He is obliged to make all of the blocks, which he does. And Victory can put the +1/+1 counter on Youthful Scholar, and that will pick up the first game here for Jasper. And there we go. Exact victory there for Jasper. So he is one of the good here and dangerously close to 2-1-ing with a deck that didn't look too great. I mean, I wouldn't call it a complete disaster, but it wasn't one of the stronger decks I've seen. And there was even, in fact, in his pod, a player that was also playing blue-white and had just seemed like a much better version.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in round 1 where it definitely looked like a much better version in that mirror match.
That's right. All right, so some cards being shifted around here. For Rade, you see his deck on the right-hand side of your screen. He's pulling a bunch of cards to the side. So what is his white splash for? Dromoka's Command and Enduring Scale Lord? Is that what you're seeing here?
That's what I'm saying. Not the most exciting.
That's a bold splash.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what mana fixing he has.
Well, we know he's got a Sheltered Eyrie.
We do know that.
That one we know. Don't know what else he's got, though.
I'll tell you what, I'm not playing a Sheltered Eyrie for those cards.
No.
Because that card is especially not good.
Right. It looks like he's got 2 free white sources and a Plains.
Sure.
Maybe he was a little short on playables?
Yeah, I think that was a Jungle Hollow in the middle, but a couple non-basics to help his mana base.
Okay. In the meantime, Jasper's taking his time and trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do. I see that the Aven Tactician has hit the bin in favor of a Contradict here.
Interesting. Yeah, he did not see a lot of fast action there. The first play of the game was turn 3 Scale Guards, and I guess there was a Hewstone Retainer, which does imply that there are some cheaper cards in Ole's deck, but yeah, he had a lot of more expensive cards. Didn't come out of the gate super fast.
Yeah, it looks like Jasper is down to just 11 creatures, and I believe the Soul Summons running a little bit light, perhaps taking a more controlling angle here with the contradict in. We did see a decent amount of removal spells there from Olerade, so Jasper can't just be on the plan of, you know, maybe flipping up an Ojutai Interceptor and riding it to victory. It definitely has Ole has the ability to kill it. So, all right, into game 2 we go. Take a look at our players there.
Take a look at Nissa on the right.
She's got a good seat for this one.
Oh yeah. I knew she was on Team Ole too.
All right, let's take a look at the opening hands from our players. It looks like Jasper may have already mulliganed, unless there's one card.
Oh, he'll be mulliganing again.
Yeah, if that was a mull, this one's going back too.
This one is not going back.
He's
wrong again, Marshall.
Well, there could be a card to the left there that we can't see.
He's got 6 cards in hand.
Oh, you're right. Oh, no. Wow, he just drew the best card in his deck here, Dragon Hunter. The only thing he could cast.
Yeah.
All right, he's found another land. Now, kind of crazy here, though. Ole just has nothing going on. He's only got 2 creatures in his hand, and he can't cast either of them for quite a while.
Oh, yeah, both opening hands were not good.
Dromoka's Command, another card that he just can't cast. Wow.
All right.
And now he gets to play probably right into Bean to try to smooth out this draw even further.
Yeah, nothing funner than Runner.
Wow, it just peels 2 lands in a row like a champion.
Including the island. Considering his options, I agree with you with the right. I think the right is absolutely the right play here.
Wow. Yeah. Jasper just assumes, you know, I'm going to draw another land. We'll get this thing done nice and quick.
Ole may not cast a spell this game.
Yeah, there's a decent chance that he doesn't. Ole has drawn both of his white spells, has no white mana, and no castable creatures otherwise.
Well, Jasper capped a 1-land hand with nothing he could cast before turn 3, drew a 1-drop, and then running lands. And Ole kept a hand with no castable cards and has not drawn one.
Wow. Ole's hand goes on his head. This has got to be frustrating. His opponent missed his second land drop, and Ole finds himself woefully behind here. He needs a creature, and he needs it now. A 3-drop next turn would do quite nicely. He could
just
cast
like a defeat would be great.
Yeah, defeat would be great too. But you know, if he can find you know, any creature that costs 2 or 3 mana here, he could play Heatstone Retainers and that creature, and try to set himself up to get Hunt the Week going. All right, he did it. Glade Watcher.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It would have been the perfect draw like any number of turns ago.
That's right. And so here we go. Heatstone Retainers and Glade Watcher means that all of a sudden Rade has 2 really nice blockers on the ground, though there's that land that Jasper set up. So now
hopefully get word on what this manifest is.
The Epic Confrontation is probably going to have to kill this Interceptor that just got flipped up next turn.
Mm-hmm.
But it does look like Ole may be able to stabilize from there, though the cards in hand for Jasper are quite strong.
Yeah, I mean, the good cards in his hand also weren't in the opening hand.
That's right. All right, so
I think he's just going to cast the other Glade Watcher and Hunt the Week, the Retainers and the Interceptor.
That would do nicely here.
He could also potentially just attack with the Heatstone Retainer first, and then do that.
I like that play. Looks like Ole kind of had a line sketched out in his head, but now he's going to take a minute to review.
Yeah, he definitely has some options right now.
Rade has, it looks like he's mentally going through each of the iterations now, trying to figure out if he wants to, how he can get through the most damage here, whether he wants to use, how efficiently he can use his mana, and I think he's decided on Epic Confrontation. He could get a fairly large attack in here, right? He could even Epic Confrontation the Glade Watcher and the Ojutai Interceptor.
He could.
And with that, he can attack with the other Glade Watcher too. With his Glade Watcher, I mean. This is
I don't know how aggressive he wants to get.
Yeah,
with that's already down to 8 life.
That's the question.
You know that your opponent has 4 spells in hand. You're positive on that.
That much is known.
You're facing against a blue-white deck. You've seen some tricks. Turns out the manifest is a pacifism.
Okay. Yeah, I think Ole's past the point of giving too much respect to what the manifest could be creature-wise. He just has to play it out.
Well, there is a reasonable chance that it is a good card to be flipped up, and so you do have to temper your attacks based on that a little bit, just because it was a right into being, it wasn't a blind manifest.
True.
So the odds of it being something good are certainly higher.
For sure. Okay, so another land right on time here for Jasper de Jong. His draw has been very kind to him after that keep, and now he's got quite a few options at his disposal here. He can even Surveyor something away and really set Ole Rade back, and that's what he's going to do.
He's going to bounce the Houston Retainer here, but he still doesn't have an attack. And Epic Confrontation can both take care of the Surveyor and cast the Houston Retainer. Grim Contest is a pretty good draw that can do the same thing but be a bit more mana efficient.
Yeah, I mean, even just as it sits, Ole has 2 removal spells that he can cast in hand, plus the Houston Retainers is going to come down. If he were to draw white mana, he'd be in pretty good shape here with that Dromoka's Command.
Now he also gets an attack, if he wants it. And he does.
He wants it.
He wants it real bad.
And in he goes to the red zone.
It's going to be the 3/3 Glade Watcher. The one that confronted is going to stay back. Although that doesn't make sense.
It's a 4/5, right? So
yeah, but they're both going to be a 3/3 next turn, and they both have effectively 3 toughness because one has 2 damage on it and it's a 4/5. The other's a 3/3. So Ole just missed a point of damage there. Not the end of the world, but. There's really no reason to have attacked with that one.
Okay, so has Ole Rade stabilized here? And, the looming question is really starting to be is can Ole find white mana? I mean, he can take out the echoes of the kin tree. That's probably the first time that's ever happened. And he also has the Enduring Scale Lord there, which can be pretty dominant in the later part of the game as well. For now, still not a bad board, though. Ole has certainly pulled ahead.
He's already seen the Enduring Victory at the very least. He knows there's an Echoes out, so that represents a counter on the Dragon Hunter, potentially. The Manifest, as we know, came off the right into being, so it is more likely it's a creature. It's not, in this case, it's a pacifism, but it's not an easy position from Ole. He does have the Grim Contest, which, saving that card in hand, instant speed, can do some good things. It can definitely blow up Jasper's spot, potentially.
All right, enough fooling around here. Ole Rade is into the red zone.
It's aggressive.
Yeah, he's attacking for 10 damage here. And the Dragon Hunter's going to jump in front. And that's going to allow him to kill the Hewstone Retainers with Enduring Victory and then trade the Dragon Hunter off.
Ole wisely knowing how Bolster works, not casting his Grim Contest in response, letting the counter go on the Dragon Hunter. If you respond, it will still go on the Manifest. It's not a targeted ability, so
that's right. So
let that resolve, then use the Grim Contest, save your guy. Ole's not in a great spot here.
No, he's
without
not.
White mana. He just has no cards in hand.
Right. He also can't attack anymore with his Glade Watchers without finding another 2 power to add to his board. So
True.
Yeah, he's fallen significantly behind after that transaction. You know, trading cards on board was really beneficial for Jasper in this particular case because Ole's on effectively 0 cards in hand, while Jasper has the full 4 here, including a card draw spell. So, you know, the longer this game goes, the more it benefits Jasper at this point, as he's got Echoes of the Kin Tree plus all these spells, and now he gets to just start slamming threats.
Yeah.
Huh. He might get a 2-1 out of this thing. He's up a game already. And Ole... Now, Eric, what happens if Ole... Let's say he draws his planes.
Mm-hmm.
Does that significantly change the course of this game here?
Absolutely.
So that's what he's hoping for, some big board-affecting player of planes, or at least one of his white mana sources.
If he's able to find a planes, he's representing lethal the turn after with Dromoka's command to help clear the way.
Ooh.
You know, he gets to activate both Glade Watchers if he wants, attack for 6 if he wants. He can activate one of them and still potentially represent lethal. Dromoka's command can put a counter on one of them and kill something, put another counter on the Scale Lord. That could be potentially 12 damage the next turn. So a lot of good options for Ole if he has white mana. If he doesn't, he's got very few options.
Okay. So we know what we want to see here. Now, what if he draws one of his tapped white mana sources? Is that too late, or does that still open up the door for him to pick up the win here?
The Abzan Sky Captain is going to be a pretty quick clock, actually. I mean, the fact that Ole's already down to 8, and you can basically assume he's going down to 6 here. I don't know.
Okay.
I think he only has 1 tapped white source, but I think he only has 3 white sources total.
Okay.
It looked like I saw 1 Plains, 1 Blossoming Sands, and 1 Sheltered Eyrie. The Eyrie will allow him to cast his white spell immediately, and as will the Plains, and I think he only has 1 other white source, but may have missed one. He might have mapped the waste as well. I'm not entirely sure. He
found a dual land. It wasn't the one he wanted. It's a Jungle Hollow, and that might have just done it there for Ole Rade.
Yeah, he's on a 2-turn clock potentially. Jasper can use the Echoes right now. Like, he doesn't have to cast another spell. He can attack with the Sky Captain, use the Echoes of the Kin Tree, make it a 3/3, deal 4. During Ole's end step, he can use it again to pump the Manifest, and next turn he'll threaten being able to pump the Sky Captain another time, and that would make a 4/4. That would do it.
Ole is sitting there patiently awaiting his fate.
He could just use it once on the Sky Captain, play the Shore Crasher Elemental, leave himself in a just more dominant position next turn, but not necessarily threatening lethal.
But his number 1 priority here, right, is to make sure that that Sky Captain has the ability to kill Ole in a turn, next turn if possible.
No, I don't think that's his number 1 priority.
Okay.
He's not really in any rush. He's at 14.
Okay.
Your opponent doesn't even have a creature that can attack. But you also have no idea what these 2 cards in hand are. Like, they could just be lands.
Sure.
This is an interesting draw.
It was yeah. So Jasper decided not to activate his Echoes there to get in an extra damage. He's left up Sandblast, and he can still activate Echoes on his turn, but he does miss the damage there by waiting.
Yeah, actually, I think that was just a mistake. By using the Echoes, he still threatens lethal next turn. He can cast Shore Crasher Elemental.
Is that too late? He can't actually cast the Enduring Scale Lord here.
It's
he found his planes. That's what he wanted, but
let's see. What can he do? It doesn't seem very good for him. There's no line I can see from Ole that I like. It's certainly nothing getting him out of this.
Look, Jasper is now trying to decide if he should activate his Echoes or if he wants to keep Shore Crasher Elemental pump ability available, I guess.
Yeah, if he uses it, Ole's in trouble.
Ole's in big trouble here.
Yep.
Yeah, I could not cast his Enduring Scale Lord that turn. He was a mana short. Jasper's thinking through his options. You can see him kind of cringing over there like, does it really matter here?
I mean, Ole's is down to 3, and Jasper's got 3 lethal threats. Only has 2 blockers for Ole. He can make all of his creatures get out of range of even dying because of the echoes. Even without using Sandblast. I don't know. I think Jasper's just trying to make sure he doesn't make a mistake. I think he knows that this match is about to end. Because if he doesn't win this game, he's going to be short on time for Game 3.
Yes, he is. Now, so if Jasper does activate it, what's Ole's play? Does he fight the Manifest and get rid of the echoes with his Dromoka's command? It looks like Jasper didn't use it anyway.
Interesting.
So that's not a decision that Ole gets to tackle here.
Not sure exactly what he's trying to play around here, but
okay, this is a lethal attack, assuming that that Jasper activates his echoes. He does have the option to bolster, making this death. He could also just say, sure, take 2. All right, block. And is it going to be Sandblast or just echoes? He's going to activate echoes first.
yeah, no reason to cast Sandblast.
Right.
You already want the counter on your guy. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like Ole is going to be forced to Dromoka's command here.
Yeah, but he's going to be forced to put a... Is he forced to put a +1/+1 counter on it?
You mean because Jasper could just activate it again in response?
Right. I mean, he could have the Glade Watcher fight the Sky Captain.
He's making him sacrifice an enchantment.
Okay, so he's not going to fight anything, but his Aven is going to be bigger than the Sky Captain. He can't put 2 counters on it because of the Manifest.
Exactly. But this means that Sandblast has been cleared for launch here, and the Vulturous Aven's going to hit the bin. The Dromoka's command is still going to resolve with the whole you must sacrifice an enchantment part of things, and Ole is not going to die this turn. Ooh. So he draws Typhoid Rats, which he can cast alongside the Enduring Scale Lord here. And the rats are quite nice against that Shore Crusher elemental, right?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely offers up a decent trade.
Yeah, so Ole is tentatively stable here. I mean,
tentatively.
It's about as close as it gets. There's a lot riding on this enhanced awareness. Oh,
3 spells.
Oh, jeez. We might even see him just get rid of Soul Summon so he can keep up Whisk Away here, depending on what his attack step looks like this turn. Nah. We're going to see Soul Summons hit the battlefield. Yeah, we're not going to see that either.
He likes leaving up the Shore Crusher elemental. That's priority 1.
He wants to protect that. There's a sheltered area for Rade. Ooh. Well, he's going to cast it, but he's not too happy about it here.
Nope. I think this turn we'll just see Soul Summons leave up Contradict.
Certainly makes sense. You can feel Jasper's grasp on this game tightening. He almost had Ole dead. Ole drew pretty nicely there with the Typhoid Rats.
Put out some lethal threats and leave up Contradict for the attack, so that works probably better. Assuming nothing terrible happens right now. Not that much can. I mean, Shore Crusher Elemental is ready to go.
Yep. And it's just a Dragon Scarred Bear here. Whisk Away in hand as well for Jasper, who you mentioned a minute ago. He really does need to win this game. He's now under 5 minutes on his clock, and I mean, you can win a game in that much time, no problem, but it does present some issues. So I think he is going to be able to finish this game off, but he does need to. So here comes Ubs on Sky Captain, which is going to prompt a block.
It's going to whisk us away, contradicted on the way back down, I assume.
And that should be the game. Only one unknown card there for Jasper, but he's got to figure that's a land, as Ole just has had
One
the
unknown
card in hand forever.
Yep.
And Ole just doesn't really have any other choice here other than to just recast the Enduring Scale Lord. It's going to get contradicted on the way down.
Yeah, no real fear of anything. I mean, he can kind of just attack with all his creatures at this point. If Ole had anything, he's probably not leaving up. Oh, he doesn't even have Formidable anymore, so no regeneration available. The Sky Captain alone is lethal. Dealing with it makes, another creature in play probably lethal. With the bolster.
Yeah, he's going to fire off Sight Beyond Sight so that he gets a trigger on Dragon Bell Monk as well.
Right,
and
this is going to make 5
it.
lethal attackers.
Jasper de Jong wins the match. He finishes 2-1 with his draft deck and improves his record even further. He has really run away with this thing. I think that when we get to the standard rounds, which are what we're going to be coming up to next, he just needs to keep it together. Right? I mean, it's just a matter of not... I mean, I guess if he 0-4s, he might even still be in range.
I think he's got a good shot at 0-4. Obviously, his tiebreakers are going to be great after the start.
Yeah.
If he gets 1 win, I assume it's just a hard lock at that point, but...
really impressive, though.
2-1 with that
Jasper.
deck is you got to be thrilled.
Yeah, you got to be thrilled with it. All right, let's see what Brian David Marshall has in the red zone.
Thanks, guys. I've been keeping an eye on the match between Lars Dom and Marius Schwartz. These two players came into this round 5-4 for Lars Dom, 4-5 for Schwartz, and we're both looking to 3-0 the second draft pod. Lars has a deck that is chock full of enchantments. He's got Citadel Siege, Monastery Siege, Myth Realized. Jeskai Runemark has been a huge card for Marius Schwartz in this match. We're going to pick it up here in the third game. Schwartz has hard cast a Mardu Scout, no dash here. And that is his turn 2 play. So, Elusive Spellfist comes down for Lars Dom. There's a Flamewake Phoenix. Attack with both. You get a look at the Flamewake Phoenix. And Lars just pushes his Elusive Spellfist in the way of the Mardu Scout. So turn 3, there's the Monastery Siege. As you can see, it's sort of like not quite a Howling Mine, because you have to discard a card, but beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card, then discard a card. So Lars is in great shape here in terms of his card selection, but Hardened Berserker comes down. There's the Flamewake Phoenix. So, and a Morph, and a Dromica Dunecaster, and Twin Bolt takes down the Morph. It was a Gouda Lurker. And then dash in a Mardu Scout and send in the team. And suddenly, Lars Dom's at 9, and he's going to be facing more of the same next turn. He plays Sandcrafter Mage, puts a counter on the Dromica Dunecaster, casts Mardu Scout, dashes Mardu Scout rather, and well, when you stock up your yard like that, Will of the Naga taps down the Flyer, taps down the Hardened Berserker. Only the Mardu Scout can attack. It does. And Lars puts the Dunecaster in front. He's really got to work his way out of this. He can't afford that tax of 2 mana a turn. Decides to trade. Monastery Siege. Plays Sight Beyond Sight. So at this point, he's 5 cards deeper into his deck than Marius. Marius plays Lotus Path Djinn. Sight Beyond Sight rebounds. And there's an Aven Tactician. But Jeskai Runemark, this card has been MVP for Marius Schwartz in this match. He puts it on the Flame Wake Phoenix. It triggers Prowess on the Lotus Path Djinn. And eventually, everybody attacks. So Sandcrafter Mage gets in front of the Hardened Berserker. The Aven Tactician thinks about blocking the Flame Wake Phoenix. Finally, just decides to chump. So he's gonna fall to 6 there. Here's another activate. The Monastery Siege triggers. But what is he gonna find here? There's Myth Realized. Pacifism for the Enchanted Flyer. And a Morph. So Lars is at 6, but maybe he can stabilize here. He falls to 4. And Frostwalker comes down. Colgan. So 9 cards deeper into his deck now is Lars. There's a Mardu Woe Reaper. Which is going to get him back a point of life. Going to let him maybe trade with that Frostwalker. And Colgan Aspirant comes in. And Ojutai Interceptor is unmorphed. It blocks the Lotus Path Djinn, and Lars goes to 3 from the Colgan Aspirant. Alright, Monastery Siege, just keep digging. 14 cards in library to 24 cards in library for short. So Lars has just seen, so much of his deck at this point, but it is not quite doing it for him. Here's Ojutai Summons. Marius Zen Step, put a counter on Myth Realized, put another counter on Myth Realized, plays Jeskai Sage. Alright, rebound, make another Djinn Monk. In comes Frostwalker, Colgan Aspirant, and a Djinn Monk. And Lars gets to actually activate the Myth Realized. Now he has a 3/3 creature, could potentially become a 4/4 if he wants to activate it, but Marius has a response, and he has Ojutai's Breath to tap down the enchantment. So Jeskai Sage is going to basically just die in front of the Colgan Aspirant. The Mardu Woe Reaper and the Frostwalker are going to trade. Another card for Lars. He cannot untap his Myth Realized. Plays Light Form, but really that's going to be it because Ojutai's Breath is going to rebound, and our 3-0 drafter here is going to be Marius Schwartz as he attacks with everybody. Lars is at 1. He's got nothing. The game is over. So great job by Marius Schwartz there. Red-blue, not a color combination you often see 3-0ing a draft, but does a great job with it there. And he goes to 5-5. So Schwartz is really alive. I mean, depending on how he does in standard, he's still got some game. So I don't know, guys. What do you think about blue-red? Sending it back to the booth.
Looked pretty good there.
It did. I have to say, I think that Lars probably spent the most amount of mana for the least amount of actual board affecting spells I've ever seen. He spun his wheels like nobody's business.
He drew his whole deck, and it just wasn't quite enough.
In game 1, we also saw him play a Citadel Siege on dragons.
Oh,
in a
really?
futile attempt to stay alive. So
I haven't seen that one. All right, we've got an interview lined up, though. Let's send it down to Kenji on the floor.
Friends, Kenji Igashira here with Marius Schwartza, whose deck you guys just watched in the red zone with BDM. Marius, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, great today.
Let's talk about your yesterday. You started off 2-5, a little bit shaky. The formats were vintage and modern. How did you feel about those?
Yeah, I have basically never played vintage before, so I just took like Ifro's list from the shop stake, and yeah, I went 1 and 2 after. The first match was pretty easy, and then 2 pretty close matches, sadly with a bad ending for me. And then Modern, I knew I hate Modern. I played it just for an online MOX event, and yeah, so I decided to go mono red. So basically, like coin flipping against most of the matchups, and yeah, ended up like 1 and 3 there.
So you watched a lot of VSL then for your vintage practice?
Yeah, I did. Just not that much, like maybe 20-30 matches or something.
Well, after starting 2-5 yesterday, you're 3-0 to start the day, so you must be feeling pretty good about the draft portion. Talk us about your draft.
Yeah, I ended up with a blue-red deck today. I first picked like the Warbringer thing and the red dash guy, then Youthful Scholar, and ended up playing neither of these. So yeah, I got a lot of blue in the pack. I think the only second blue drafter was Lars, sitting just to my left. I had like 10 or 15 playable blue cards on the sideboard left, so yeah. But I went for the most aggressive stuff with like the 2 drops into the blue flying enchantment to beat down for like 5 on turn 3. And yeah, it worked out fine. I got pretty kind of lucky with the draws. When I do bad, it was like 1 game a match, so that's okay.
Now, I think that's a little bit interesting. Most people would consider a Warbringer and like Youthful Scholar pretty decent red and blue cards, and they were in your color, so why did you opt not to play them?
They were just not aggressive enough for me, so there were a lot of cards I decided I don't want to have in my deck because they were too slow, so I didn't put them into the deck.
Well, at 5 and 5 now, you're sitting in the middle of the pack. Hopefully you can, wrap things up here in the next portion, which is Standard. Do you feel good about Standard?
Yeah, definitely. I think I tested Standard the most, maybe after Limited, and so I hope I can do well there.
Thank you, Marius. Yeah. For Marius, this is Kenji. Let's send it back to the booth.
Hey there, welcome back to the booth. And you heard a little bit from our only German competitor in the event here. Let's see what BDM has in the red zone. He's got a little more queued up for us.
All right, guys. I've got a great one here. So we have the second place coming into this round was 7-3, and that was Magnus Lanto. 6-4 was the next best record. Alesia Telerov, he was at 6-4. I'm going to pick this up here in game 3 between these guys, and Magnus Lanto is resolving a Smoldering Efreet. So, Jeskai Barricade comes down for Telerov, just a flash blocker. Just uses his mana efficiently, plays a morph, and then nothing for Lanto on turn 3. Here's a Lotus Path Djinn for Telerov. He's been just the games we've seen him win, he's been winning them in the air with his flyers. And here's Dragonloft Idol. His cards looked pretty good for Lanto so far. He's got a couple dragons in his deck. So Telerov gets in for 2 with the Djinn. Here's Calcisma Behemoth. Unmorph an Ojutai Interceptor at the end of the turn. And suddenly, we've got 6 points of power flying over in the air. And Lanto falls to 12. Telerov is undinged at this point in the game. So, all right, attack with everybody from Lanto. Jeskai Barricade gets in the way of the Dragonloft Idol. And it's 13 playing 12. And there is the Ukut Cobra. But that is not going to slow down Telerov, who's in the air. He flashes in a Silumgar Sorcerer. Could have countered that, but says, nope, I'd rather keep my blocker there and just build my Air Force. And so he's got Lanto down to 4 here, reducing stature on the Calcisma Behemoth, and a Lightwalker come down. So, but sure enough, it's time for a dragon. Kolaghan the Storm's Fury, no dash. That's a 4/5 wall in the air. Hoping he can stave off the assault. But here's a Ward Scale Dragon, so that's enough flyers that he can just attack with everybody, even if he's going to lose 2 of them, because remember, the Dragonloft Idol has flying now. He is fine with this. He can just attack with everybody, but there is Sarkhan's Rage to take down the Ward Scale Dragon, and the Cobra gets in. The Cobra just says, here I come, and then Battle Brawler. So, no attack from Lanto, who doesn't want to just, kill his 2 creatures, but he does play Sky Captain. So again, he now has 4 flyers to 2 blockers. So, on the board, he should be able to just win next turn. So, little mana tapping adventures. So, Ancestral Statue. Is he going to pick up his Calcissima Behemoth? No, he picks up the Smoldering Efreet that he played all the way back on turn 2, replays it. But he is dead in the air here. Eric Froelich, what are your outs here?
That would be collateral damage.
Collateral damage.
Well, let's see. In comes everybody. Would you attack with everybody here if you're sitting in Telerov's seat?
You kind of have to. You're falling further and further behind. It really I can't talk. It really depends on your deck and how many ways you have to punch through later on in the game.
All right. So here are the blockers. He blocks Dragonloft Idol in front of the Lotus Pathogen. He puts Kolagon in front of the Silumgar Sorcerer. But that's still 6 points coming through unblocked. But there it is. There's
he had
collateral
it.
damage. He sacrifices the reduced in stature Calcissima Behemoth, kills the Ojutai Interceptor, and he goes to 2.
Oh, it's a great game.
And now, can he just attack with everybody for the win here? He sure thinks so. Does Teleroff have anything? He's got 1 card in hand.
Oh, man, if he sandblasts that...
No, he just takes 16. Great game by Magnus Lanto.
Wow.
So that puts him to 8-3, drops Teleroff to 6-5,
Yeah.
and Lanto's in great shape. I mean, it sounds like he's a couple wins off, but everybody's a couple wins off right now. Jasper's running away. Lanto's one of the strong players heading into Standard.